Welcome to the Get Fit Guys, quick and dirty tips to slim down and shape up. My name is Ben Greenfield, and I'm the Get Fit Guy. In an episode from the Nutrition Diva called How Much Water Should I Drink?, my fellow quick and dirty tips expert Monica Reinagel busted two popular myths. Myth number one, that you need to drink 8 glasses of water per day to stay hydrated. And myth number two, that caffeinated beverages such as coffee and tea are dehydrating. But what about during exercise? How much water should you drink when you're working out? Or do you need to drink water at all when you're working out? And what about salt pills, sports drinks, or electrolytes? Do you need to take those too? So today, you'll find out the answers in this episode. Water loss during exercise can be significant. To put this in proper context, I'm going to tell you about a recent test that I did to determine how much fluid that I lose in my sweat during exercise and how much salt was in this sweat. So for this test, which was overseen by a professional research team in a laboratory, I ran on a treadmill in a 95-degree room at my maximum exercise capacity for 45 minutes. I was weighed before and after the test, and even the towel I used to wipe sweat off my body while I was running was accounted for in that post-test weighing. So this was a fairly strict protocol. But that wasn't all. I was also required to record every morsel of food that I ate and to collect all my urine during the 24-hour test period in a special jug. I was also hand-bathed in deionized water after the test, and that water was analyzed for sodium levels. All of this allowed researchers to find out exactly how much salt I was losing in my sweat. And by the way, if you care to watch a video of this entire procedure, then I'll link to it in the show notes. The video is called How Much Salt Do You Lose in Your Sweat? Ultimately, the results revealed that I personally sweat over 2 liters of water per hour. In a less hot climate, such as one that you might encounter while you're exercising at a gym or health club, the average person would lose about between 0.8 to 1.4 liters of water per hour during exercise. For those of you who like to think in ounces, that's about 28 to 48 ounces of water during exercise. Now, to help you visualize that amount, the average bike water bottle holds about 20 to 24 ounces of fluid. In my case, I would need to consume nearly 3 full water bottles per hour to stay fully hydrated. But my sweat rate is not anything compared to the highest human sweat rate recorded, which is 5 liters per hour or 170 ounces per hour. Now, I also discovered that I personally lose 2 grams of sodium per hour. This is just slightly below the current U.S. dietary recommendations for total daily sodium intake. The average person actually does lose between 1 and 3 grams of sodium per hour during exercise, and some athletes in hot conditions have been found to lose over 5 grams of sodium per hour, which is the equivalent of about 5 cups of salted peanuts. Now, if you want to discover how much fluid you personally lose while exercising, you don't have to do a lab test like me. The lab test that I did was primarily so involved because we were actually tracking the amount of sodium lost also. But if you just want to find out how much fluid you're losing during exercise, you can simply start with weighing yourself without any clothes 1 hour before you start exercising. After an hour of exercise, strip down and weigh yourself again. Assuming you didn't go to the bathroom or drink any water during your exercise session, your total weight loss is your sweat rate. For each kilogram of weight that you lost 1 liter of fluid. For each pound of weight that you lost about 15.5 ounces of fluid. Of course, if you drink any fluids or water during the test, you would need to add the total weight of the fluids consumed to the amount of weight that you lost during the test. Or you can just go for the hour without drinking. You might get thirsty, but it's okay. It's just an hour, and you'll know exactly how much weight that you lose during exercise from fluid loss. So now that you know how much water you lose during exercise, the important question is, do you need to drink as much water as you're losing? The answer is a definitive no. Here's why. If you try to drink as much water as you're losing during exercise, you'll find yourself with an uncomfortable stomach or side ache from too much fluid in your gastrointestinal tract. You'll spend the great majority of your workout with a water bottle held to your mouth, and you may even risk water intoxication, which results from drinking so much water that you dilute your blood. This phenomenon, called hyponatremia, is actually a big problem in events like the marathon or triathlon. Instead, just drink as much water as you need to drink to avoid about 2 to 3% of total body weight loss by the time you're done working out. This means that in most cases, you don't need to drink anything at all if your workout is an hour or less, and you can simply rehydrate when you're finished exercising. For most people, proper hydration during exercise of longer duration will require about 20 to 30 ounces of water per exercise. That's for sessions lasting 1 hour or more. Interestingly, that's about how much you'll drink if you just sip some water every time you get thirsty. You also don't need to eat as much salt as you're losing during exercise, because your kidneys have a special mechanism which can conserve sodium by causing you to lose less salt in your urine and release more of your body's storage sodium levels. That mechanism kicks in when you begin sweating and losing sodium, but actually won't work quite as well if you're eating salt pills or drinking sports drinks during your workout. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty details of both sodium and hydration replacement during exercise, then you should take a listen to a longer podcast that I recorded from my website, bengreenfieldfitness.com. I'll link to it in the show notes, but the name of the episode is The Death of Gatorade. Should you stop using electrolytes during exercise? I'll also link, for you nutrition geeks out there, to a paper in the British Journal of Sports Medicine written by Dr. Timothy Noakes that goes into very good detail when it comes to sodium and hydration replacement during exercise. Now, I realize I may have just created more questions than I answered, so if you have more questions about how much water you should drink while you exercise, then go over to facebook.com/getfitguy and ask your questions. I'd be happy to help you. Until next time, this is the Get Fit Guy asking you, what are you waiting for? Go get fit.